So if you look at where the currency system is going, you have an effort to develop digital currencies that will be far more conducive of surveillance, invasion, and I think of even chipping people.
Is that also applicable to the Bitcoin?
Yes. So Tim Wu wrote a fantastic book that I'm always recommending. It's one of the best books for 2018 in the annual wrap-up, and it's called The Master Switch, and he describes the history of information technology, where there's a period of blossoming and innovation, and then bam, it's used to centralize. And on each process of centralization, the central control grows. And my concern about what's next in terms of next in terms of currencies is I think where the leadership wants to go is they basically want to be able to collateralize a human being. So if I can integrate digital technology into you, then I can track you and I can use you as collateral. And you're back.
What?
Collateral.
Collateral.
Okay, so let me give you an example. One of the books that most profoundly affected me over the last 2 years was a book called The Half Has Never Been Told. It's a history of the economics of the American slave trade. And there were two things in it that really stunned me. One was the slave population grew up built up on the East Coast, and they decided as it built up to create 3 large corporations, Mississippi, Alabama, and Louisiana, to really build a cotton juggernaut. And they had a mass migration of slaves into those plantations. And one of the things they stipulated was that 70% should be single males between the ages of 17 and 35. And when I was reading the book, I was also doing an interview of someone about the European immigration situation. And I went to the EU website, and they noted that on all the immigrants that had come into Europe and also Germany that year, 70% were single males between 17 and 35.
Oh.
And I said, apparently it's the same playbook. You know, it hasn't changed. That was number one. The second thing was there were 2 reasons why they canceled the slave trade. And one of them was that the banks in London kept losing money because every time commodity prices would drop, the plantation owners would sell the slaves west, and there was no way for the banks to prove that that slave belonged to them. So there was no way to perfect a lien. There was no way to collateralize. If you can integrate digital technology into humans physically, suddenly you can. And that is a huge change.
And that's happening in your views, or that's attempted?
I think there is a tremendous effort underway to encourage people to accept wearing chips, integrating chips into their body. And the reality is, as soon as you can do that, you can use a human being to collateralize a loan. And then you're talking about taking away one of the primary reasons why they canceled the slave trade.
Yeah.